All right, I am here with...
Nathan.
All right, Nathan, very nice to meet you, and thanks for letting me take cover under this tent in the middle of rain here at the Oval at OSU. And, okay, you ready for today's question?
I am ready.
Okay. Do you believe that there is evil in this world? Just in general, like that it even exists. Does evil exist?
Do you mean like people are like born evil, or like there's just like something?
Not necessarily the origin per se yet, but is there evil in the world?
I don't think there's people that truly mean like bad, I guess. I don't think people are like, I feel like people do what's in their best interests, and sometimes that might not align with other people's interests, and that could create a sense of evil. But I don't think people are going, I think most of the time there's not people out there going out trying to cause havoc, trying to do bad things to other people, and spreading hatred and evil as per se.
The person that's always easy to pick on is like Hitler. Do you think he was evil, or do you think he was just doing what he thought was right?
I mean, people, obviously my opinion is, he shouldn't have done any of that. I don't support anything that he's ever done, but there's just, people have their own ideas and ideologies, and if he thought that was right, he thought that was right. Maybe he wasn't meaning to be evil, but obviously what he did was completely wrong.
Who gets to decide what's like okay and not okay? What do we get to decide what's right and wrong, or is there something that we should all kind of a standard we should all agree to?
I feel like there's no one that decides what's right and wrong. It's just how the community is. Like there's I guess like a common collection of ideas that most people believe in, and we kind of consider that like the morality, like right and wrong. But like everybody has their own opinion, so like maybe Hitler just had a completely different opinion on and different morality compared to everybody else.
He definitely had a different opinion than what I have.
Yeah.
And it is interesting because the world we live in, it seems like people are saying like, well, I get to decide what's right for me, you get to decide what's right for you,
Yeah.
and Hitler gets to decide what's right for him, even if it's killing millions of people. Other people, like myself, think that there's a standard that not everybody agrees on, but that there should be a common standard of morality. What do you think about people like myself that say, no, I think there is a global morality? I believe that's under, like, God gets to decide that, not me gets to decide that or you, but what do you think about people who hold that kind of view?
I think it is valid. I feel like there probably is like a certain like level, but that's just based on like a collection of ideas from the whole entire community, because there's a lot of people that don't believe in God, they don't believe in a higher power, so I wouldn't say that it comes from a higher power like in general, even though I do believe in like religion, but like I feel like it's just from a collection of like what everyone around the world believes, because there is like a sense of, I mean, like just a normal person wouldn't do like the type of things that like Hitler or somebody else would do. Like it's just like something that's you grow into, and you realize like what's right and wrong.
I definitely think that a lot of people, if they feel justified in doing something, a lot of times they don't like it done back to them. And there's this, it's a very subjective view of what's right and wrong. And then it's kind of like, if I feel justified in it, and I have the right to do it because I decide it's right, but don't do it back. And it seems like everybody's kind of like, it's kind of every man for themselves, every woman for themselves in the sense. And I don't know. Do you feel like that leads to a lot of chaos, a lot of just division when we can't all agree on kind of what is that standard?
Yeah, I think it does cause a lot of problems, because obviously you could look around the world right now. I mean, there's stuff that's going on that I'm not going to like specifically talk about, but it's a conflict between different viewpoints, and I feel like at the end of the day we just have to realize that we're all humans, that we are all like here for like everybody has a right to live, and I think we just have to realize that and come to like a sense of peace.
What do you think's the hope for the world? Like, what do you think is there hope in the midst of kind of the world keeps spinning? And again, we don't have to talk specific about what it is, but do you think what's kind of the answer? What do you think would really help humanity?
I mean, there's always going to be problems every single day. Like something else is going to come up, but at the end of the day, if you just keep true to yourself and believe in stay true to your own beliefs, and like you were saying, like treat people the way that you'd want to be treated. Everything should be fine.
I'm a follower of Jesus, and Jesus says, love your neighbors yourself. Treat people the way you want to be treated. So literally, he says we call it the golden rule, but
Sweet.
I think that'd be a great if we could all agree on that. Man, what a better world we'd live in.
Yeah.
Well, my hope's in Jesus, and my hope in Jesus for this world. And let me know if you ever have any questions about that. And thanks for taking your time to talk with me, man.
Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Hey, thanks for letting me hang out with you guys. Thank you, guys. Thanks, cameraman. All right, where are you at with all of that? How did you process that? Where are you at with morality and what's good and bad, right and wrong, good and evil? Who gets to decide it? Is it just you get to decide for you and I get to decide for me and the community and culture get to decide? And I understand like nations get to make laws, especially in a democracy where people get to vote for things, but like that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the same as right and wrong. You can make bad laws that promote evil. But do you believe in evil? Do you believe evil exists? Do you believe that this is something that there is a clear, absolute truth of what is right and wrong? And who gets to make it? Who gets to decide what's right and wrong? This is a huge thing in our culture. I mean, look at what it's doing. Look at what it's doing to our world. And I don't think it's new, by the way. I mean, everyone did what is right in their own eyes. The Bible says all the time, like people, go back and read the book of Judges. I mean, people were just lawless and doing whatever they thought was right. And it's just like crazy stuff happening. But is that the way that we should live? Just because we have the freedom to live that way, does that mean that there is no truth, that there is no morality that we should all abide by? Is it a free for all, or is there a clear standard of truth that God has told us what we should live by? Is He allowed to tell us how we should live and what is right and wrong, what is good and what is evil, what is righteousness and what is sin? Again, I believe that people should have the freedom to do that. We can't make people do what is right, although there can be consequences for that. And this is more about what is truth subjective or is it clear and absolute? I agree. There's some things that are contextual, but most things, I mean, Hitler's not subjective. Hitler's not, he thought he was trying to do good, so maybe it's right in his eyes. I mean, it's just, we can't get to a place where we just say that, Hitler thought he was doing right. And that's okay for him. Let him live. While 6 million people die. It's like, no, that's not this is where this leads. And it can be different times and nations and topics and people doing this. But Hitler's the prime example of where this leads when everyone gets to decide what is right in their own eyes. When we reject God being Lord over all and sovereign over all, this is what happens to people, humanity, society, when we all just say, hey, live and let live. Your truth is your truth. My truth is my truth. It leads to destruction. It leads to depravity. It leads to hopelessness. It leads to more harm being done to one another. And it leads us further away from love your neighbor as yourself. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. It leads us further away from the heart and the design of God and what the example we see in Christ Jesus. You know what Jesus says when he's on trial with Pontius Pilate? This is in John chapter 18, verse 37. Pilate says, "You are a king then," said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me." All right, for people who think there's this cutesy Jesus who just love everyone, he's like a hippie, and like he's saying everyone on the side of truth listens to me. That's a very definitive and exclusive thing. In fact, he says in John chapter 14, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me."
Sweet.
This is a very Jesus is not making this nebulous. He says, I am truth, and I get to decide what is truth. And everyone on the side of truth listens to me, Jesus says. And the truth is that he has died to set you free if your faith and hope is in him, and that you surrender to him as the Lord, the one and only master over your life. But you can reject that truth. It doesn't make it less true. You can ignore gravity. Doesn't make it less true. And so if you're listening and you felt maybe that, hey, we can just decide whatever we want, and my new friend that I just met that was a stranger, Nathan was his name. And listen, he was a nice guy. If you're listening, Nathan, listen, you were super kind to talk to, but I want you to really think about what you said. I want you to think about logically. Don't turn a blind eye to the fallacies of the argument. Because what if my truth says that your truth is wrong? What if somebody else's truth says that because of my truth, I need to die, I need to be killed? Does it make their truth still truth? I mean, this doesn't really work out practically. It doesn't actually make sense. And so we have to understand that if your truth disagrees with my truth, then how do I know what you're saying is true? This is just logic, just pure logic. Even outside of religion, this is just pure logic that we need to understand. And I did an episode way back. You can look back down my videos and podcasts where there's one, Does Truth Exist? And it really dives deeply on this topic. So I'd encourage you to go back and listen to that episode. Check out Frank Turek. So I was down at OSU for a Frank Turek, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, kind of live down at OSU that day, and got to meet him, got to talk with him, got to listen to him, and check out Frank Turek and check out the book, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. You really got to turn your brain on. Don't turn your brain off. Really engage this. Ask those questions, say, does that really make sense? Does that really hold water? Because a lot of these arguments from the world to justify their own sin, to justify their own behavior and decisions, it doesn't actually hold logical water. It's an emotional decision so that people can feel justified in doing whatever they see fit in their own eyes. May we desire what is right in God's eyes, the maker of the heavens and the earth, the one who created us, the one who created all things and who is judge over all things, and the one who is willing to die to pay the price of our sin, our breaking of his morality, his right way to live, so that we could live with him forever. What good news. That's the gospel. And so I pray that you'll surrender to the truth, that you'll dive deeply into Jesus as your definer of truth, your definer of morality, and then go live his truth, not your truth. All right, we'll see you on the next episode.